Are you looking for inspiration on a daily basis? Well, check out Deal to Heal Tees. With our inspirational tees, you're sure to find something that will inspire you. Just go to dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. That's Deal to Heal Tees. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear inspirational tea and be inspired all day. That's Deal to Heal Tees at dealtohealtees.myshopify.com. Hey guys, this is Ernest James, host of the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast, and I got a question to ask you. Could you buy me a cheeseburger? Better yet, could you buy me a value meal? Yes? Well, guess what? I don't need a value meal. However, for the cost of a value meal, you can support this podcast to keep us on the air. Just go to Patreon/Deal to Heal podcast and choose any one of the 3 tiers that's available. And if you just want to make a one-time donation, go to Cash App and make a donation to $EJames, the number 418. Make a one-time donation to the Cash App, or again, go to Patreon to support this podcast and keep us on the air. Thanks in advance. Be blessed. Welcome to Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. On this podcast, my guest and I will discuss topics and ways to help us to heal in every area of our lives. I believe that everyone can live a life that is happy, healthy, and whole. So I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Deal to Heal with the E. James podcast. I'm your host, Ernest James, and I believe that everyone should live a life that is whole, healed, and healthy. And therefore, I'm on a mission to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problems, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. If you haven't already, please listen, like, subscribe, and share to our social media pages, definitely our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, where we are able to interact with you more on a one-on-one and a daily basis, to be able to share with you different things that we have going on, be it workshops and things of that nature. And also follow us on Spotify or your favorite listening podcast distribution spot, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you guys follow us. Also, for those of you guys that's listening, wait until the end. Make sure you're listening to the end. I'm going to tell you how you can win $100 from the podcast, and it don't cost you anything, but you can win some money. So stick around, but you got to wait to the end in order to get that information. So we're going to jump right in it today. Just like any other day, we are blessed with a guest, Miss KeKe. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am great. It's been a long day, but I'm here. We're
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah.
So first of all, let me say thank you for being on, because you could have been doing anything else, but you're here with me and my listeners, and I definitely appreciate it. And I want to let
My
you know.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So we're gonna jump right in. So the first thing, Miss KeKe, introduce yourself to my listeners and let us know exactly who you are and what it is that you do.
Absolutely. Hello, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am KeKe Chanel, award-winning author, lifestyle blogger, and certified life coach. I specialize in personal growth and mindset. I believe that when we empty that mental baggage, we can tap into our higher self and live life with an abundant mindset. So that's what I do. I write books. I have a podcast called Kicking It with KeKe, Love Life, and all that other shit. We talk about conversations that change the narrative within our culture, our community, and our consciousness. Those conversations need to be had so that they become normalized and break certain stigmas and generational curses and all of those cycles that we find ourselves in as a people of color. So that's what I do. That's who I am. Again, thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem, man. You said it. You said a mouthful already, so we're gonna jump right into it. I know one of the things that I've seen, and I'm big on acronyms, and so if you listen to the podcast, you know I love acronyms. But I
Mhm.
seen the name of your coaching program is Push,
Yep.
and it seems that Push is the acronym. What is exactly does that stand for?
The push stands for proclaiming unbreakable self-healing. We should
Ooh,
all proclaim to be self-healed. That comes with personal development, discovering a new mindset, self-discovery, self-awareness, accountability, and all of the great things in between. As a life coach, my job is to help people get from being unstuck where they are now, because life happens. We get the curveballs and all of that good stuff, right? The point is to not stay stuck, move around, and want to do better. When we want better, we do better, and great things attract us. I just do believe that.
yeah, yeah, and you said a lot of stuff, a lot of keywords that I had in my notes. So, but I want to go back a little bit and talk about the journey of uh, personal growth and
Hmm.
personal development, actually, because I started my uh, journey, should I say, maybe like 2 years ago, maybe, on a journey, and it didn't even start off as a journey for personal growth or personal development.
Hmm.
I just was started off. I was in a place I wanted some inspiration and some
Right.
motivation, and so I started looking up, motivational videos and things like that, which led me down a path of motivation, inspiration. Then started getting into that personal development space, which led me on definitely a journey that I'm definitely appreciative of.
Hmm.
Um, so when we're just talking about or thinking about just in general, I guess, on the personal growth and personal development journey, how important do you think that is for us to deal with that when we talking about getting to moving our life to the next level?
It's very important because if you're not striving for something on a daily basis that fulfills you in any type of way, you're doing yourself a disservice by staying mediocre. God didn't put us here to just stay stagnant or not have or live in lack. He gave us dominion over everything. So he wants us to have an abundance life, filled with prosperity. And, it starts by doing the works, internal work. We're quick to blame other people for how we grew up, the things that we lacked when we were growing up. But we have to realize that at some point, you're an adult, shake it off. If you want better, do better. If you don't like the way your life is, you have everything within you to change that. The problem is, we don't want to do the work. We don't like that self accountability, that self awareness, and all that good stuff because it makes us go inwardly. It makes us take a look at ourselves and we may uncover some stuff that we just don't want to deal with. And so personal development and personal growth comes with the will to know that I can have better. I want better. So I'm going to implement those things in my life. It may start with just getting up with a mindset of gratitude, being thankful every day, drinking your water, eating more fruits and vegetables. It's a
Mhm.
lifestyle change, and mentally, emotionally, and physically, spiritually as well.
Yeah, and one of the things I heard you say, which I definitely connect with, is accountability and
Hmm.
having those conversations with me. Having those conversations with others. When we start talking about how we grew up and some of the things that we went through. Again, I have those same conversations, and I'm like, well, that's all fine and well, but at what point do you take accountability for where you are now?
Absolutely.
You can blame your parents for how you grew up. You can blame your environment for how you process, in order to survive. You can
Hmm.
blame your school system for not knowing, the proper education. But at
Right.
some point, when do you take accountability for where you are now? Probably not how you got there, but okay, since
Hmm.
I'm here, where am I going from here, and how am I going to get to that next step? And I think, again, like you said, a lot of times people don't want to take that accountability because that mean I got to do something. So
Absolutely. I have to do the
if
work.
I can blame it on you, then
Yep.
you got to fix it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because you the one, it's your fault. But when
Right.
I have to take accountability, like, okay, where do I go from here? That means I have to do something. And a lot of times I feel people fall into the victim mentality and they
Hmm.
get comfortable being where they are. And that justifies because you did this, and they did that, which is the reason why I'm here. So, oh well, I'm here now.
Right. And it's a cop out. It's a cop out because you are making excuses, which means that you don't want change. You like attention. And so as you mature and grow, you have to realize that our parents only had so much. So they gave us what
Mhm.
they knew to give. You cannot blame someone for not giving you something that they didn't have or know nothing of.
Right, right,
I don't know about you, but in my household, I didn't hear the words like accountability, mindset, personal growth. Were go clean this house up, make sure take care of your younger siblings. Yep, me and
right,
your daddy got to go to work because we got to pay these bills. Yeah,
right.
my mom, they made sure that we had nice things, but it wasn't until recently, within the last maybe 10 years, I realized that my parents struggled, but they never let us see that. I thought we had it good. Like,
Right,
oh,
right.
okay, I could, my mama takes us to the mall shopping and stuff like that. Not realizing she was working two jobs to make that happen.
Mhm.
They took us on vacations and stuff like that. We have to know that they did the best that they could. Now it's our turn. That personal journey with self, personal growth and development starts personal. It's within
Mhm.
you. You have to work on you. I can't fault my mom for not being a good listener if she didn't have anybody to listen to her. How can you learn to be a listener if you don't have anyone to listen to you? So
Right.
yeah, it's a self-inflicted conversation and responsibility to become your best self and operate in a new mindset by doing the work. You have to do the work.
Yeah, and when we start looking at ourselves in the mirror, right,
Mm,
and you know, take away who did what beforehand, who did something, or whose fault is it that I'm here,
mm-hmm.
but when we are able to look in those mirrors and see our self reflection,
Right.
and then that's where our conversations of, who are you really,
Right.
and you have to be honest with yourself, because you
Mm-hmm.
can lie to everybody else, you can lie to yourself if you want to, you know what I mean,
It's
but
only
you
gonna
know
last
you
a small amount, right? It's not gonna last very long because you're gonna
right.
see
You know you
yourself.
lying. You sit like,
Right.
girl, look at you. You doing it, girl, knowing to yourself, you ain't doing
No,
it.
not
You know what I mean? But
right.
that's where I think those are important conversations to have. And I remember hearing somebody talk about those mirror conversations, that when you just have a conversation with you in the morning, look in that mirror and have a true conversation. And I think from
Right.
those conversations, we begin to open up those windows of how we really see ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that one of the things that you teach about is self love, and I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we can go from self love to self accountability to self work,
Absolutely. It's
just
so
go down
much
that whole
self-work.
line, you know.
Yes.
But just starting with self and realizing that, what, I'm responsible for me from here on out,
Yep.
and I think a lot of times sometimes people get their self worth or their viewpoint of their self worth from the viewpoint of how other people see them, and not
Absolutely.
necessarily how they see themselves. And so
Yep.
when you're able to look in the mirror and really have a deep look at yourself, you're able to appreciate yourself in a
Mm-hmm.
different way, and to be able to see your own shortcomings and know where you need to be stronger at, where you're weak at. And with those self evaluations,
Mm-hmm.
you're able to move forward. But I think there's a disconnect again, at least at the beginning of that journey
Mm-hmm.
to that personal journey, to
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, where am I and who am I really outside of what I think other people see me as.
Absolutely. And when you start to love on yourself, you just glow different. Your mindset shifts. You don't worry about who said what about you 20 years ago, who don't like you. It falls off you because you tap into, I know who I am. I know why I'm here. Your opinion doesn't matter, especially if what is betrayed, or people project a lot. If somebody is projecting something that they have going on onto you, no, it's time to like stop falling into that. We hold on to enough subconsciously that will tear us down at any given day.
Mhm.
Stop taking on stuff that other people is giving to you, man. Just you don't have to. I tell people all the time, stop worrying about stuff you don't have control over. You can't control anybody else. You can control yourself, though.
Mhm.
And self love is not selfish. It's one of the most selfless acts that you can give yourself because it sets the stage for how you allow other people to treat you. When you love yourself, you just maneuver through life on a different spectrum. You don't accept any type of partnership. You don't accept any type of career. You grow your relationship with God, or whoever you believe in. I believe in God. So my personal relationship with God is very important to me. And over the years, I wasn't always practicing self-love or personal growth. At one point, I didn't care what happened to myself. I just knew that I was grateful that God did not take his hands off me when I didn't care about myself at all.
Mhm.
Although you going down this bad road, I'm right here. I'm gonna be right here, but I'm not chasing you. I'm gonna let you chase me,
Right.
but I'm
Right.
here for you. And we have to do that with ourselves. I'm glad that you talk about the mirror because we're gonna get into it in a little bit about my mindset course. That's one of the activities that people that go through the course will have to do. It's called look in the mirror. You have to do that for 7 days. You have to evaluate from day to day. How did this change? Tell yourself positive affirmations. A lot of people don't need affirmations, but at some point you need to build yourself up. And affirmations are a way to build yourself up. Beautiful. I am here. I am relevant. I am, whatever. I matter. Those type of conversations with self, because we have so much negative self-talk. We are our worst critic. We're our worst enemy at sometimes because we are harder on ourselves because when you want to succeed, and you're a perfectionist, although perfection is just a myth. You
Mhm.
can aim for perfection, but nothing is perfect. We know that, or we should know that. But
Right.
we just have to realize that I need to work on myself, and that starts with loving myself. So yeah, self-love is very important.
Yeah, and I know that I remember hearing this an example that someone gave, and I've used it several times when I speak. When you're talking about worth, and it's the example of having a $100 bill, and so you ask who wants this $100 bill, and of course everybody raises their hand,
Mm-hmm.
and so you rip it in half and say who still wants it, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's still raising their hand. Then you ball it up and you stomp on it, you spit on it, and all these different things, and when you get done all of that, you say, well, who still wants this $100? And of course, everybody still wants it. And they say, well,
Mm-hmm.
why do you still want it? And it's because the value didn't change.
Right.
The circumstances changed, the condition that is in changed, but the value didn't change. And I think
Right.
when we look at ourselves in that same way, that we're worth more than $100 bill. And
Right.
no matter what you stomp on me, you cut me, you spit on me, you throw me in the dirt or whatever, my
Mm-hmm.
value doesn't change.
Right.
And so that's where that looking in the mirror, and even those words of affirmation, to be able to say that I am valuable and my
Right.
value doesn't change because of my circumstances.
Right.
My
Right.
value doesn't change because of the things that I'm going through or that I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still worth something. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
worthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we're able to have those conversations, it definitely lifts us up. And there was another thing that I've heard, when we talk about, the taking in the things that other people say. And I
Yeah.
remember listening to a podcast with, I believe it was Grant Cardone, who's a real estate millionaire, and
Mm-hmm.
he asked the question, and he asked the guy, if I gave you something, would you take it? And the guy was like, yeah. He was like, why? He was like, just because somebody give you a donut off the
Don't mean you
ground
have
don't
to.
mean you got to eat it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just because they gave it to you don't mean you got to eat it. So just
Mm-hmm.
because someone gives you their viewpoint of what they think about you or what they think about your situation, or from the outside, looking in, their viewpoint of it, doesn't mean you have to accept that as your reality, because
Right.
you know what it really is. And
Right.
when you're able to decide I'm going to look for myself. I'm going to look at myself. I'm going to encourage myself. I'm going to be who I need to be for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then the value or the viewpoints of other people is valuable, but it is what it is. It's a viewpoint,
Yes.
and so you take what you need and what you don't, you throw away. You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Absolutely. You perfectly said. Because if you hold on to all that negative energy, how you think you're going to go through life and be abundant or be successful or positive? You cannot. Transfer of energy, it is real. Whether it's
Mhm.
positive or negative, it's transferable. So you just have to decide, am I going to be on this spectrum or I'm going to be on this spectrum? And choose positivity all the time. Like, it's too much in this world that's negative. Don't add to it when you don't
Right.
have to. You know, you have to see yourself for who you are and love yourself through it all. We have to give ourselves self-compassion and grace to know that not every day is going to be sunshine and rainbows, but it is okay because I can start anew another day.
Yes, yes, and I one of the things that so I'm involved in a organization, and we have a forgiveness mission, and so we do
Mm,
forgiveness workshops when we teach people about forgiveness,
I
and
love that.
one of the things that one of the acronyms, because again I love acronyms, so I
Hmm.
was teaching on. I was teaching on self forgiveness, and one of the acronyms that I came up with was the acronym for self. When it comes to forgiving yourself for different things that you've been through. And so
Hmm.
the S would stand for the season of life, which means taking consideration the season of life that you were in at the
Hmm.
time that you made that decision.
Right.
Um, and then the E would be the emotional state. What emotional state were you in when you made that decision? And I give the example of when my mom passed away during that time period. I was in a terrible emotional space,
Yeah.
So had I made some decisions that now I'm not too, fond of or proud of, but I can look back and say, well, where was I emotionally,
Right.
doing that? And then the L would be limited information.
Mm,
What was the information that you had at the time of that decision? Because
right.
I taken my story. By trade, I'm a bricklayer, and I knew what I wanted to do. Basically, in 8th grade, I knew the path I wanted to take.
Hmm.
But when I graduated from high school, I went to college to
Hmm.
take construction classes, but I didn't know anything about the unions. I didn't know anything about the apprenticeship. I didn't know
Hmm.
they'll pay for you to go to college. I didn't know
Right.
you would start off making half scale, like $15, $20 an hour, not knowing anything.
Right.
So years later, after I did find out about it, and I did begin that journey as a union bricklayer. When I look back at the years in between that I missed, and I think that man, had I only known that information right out of high school, where
Right.
would I be financially now? Where would my
Right.
family be? But then again, when I think about that, I have to say I had limited information at that time, and
You
so
got, and you
because
can't be hard on yourself for not knowing.
right, right. And that's exactly it.
Hmm.
Taking into consideration that limited information that you had and
Hmm.
saying, okay, I can forgive myself off the simple fact because I didn't have the information,
Right.
and then
Absolutely.
the F in the self also would just be, realizing that at that time you were doing the best that you could,
Right.
for yourself. And so that's my acronym for self when it comes to self forgiveness. And I did a whole ebook on it and everything.
Oh,
But,
nice.
so it just, that journey of self to be able to strengthen yourself, talk to yourself, encourage yourself,
Hmm.
and forgive yourself,
Yes.
is a journey within itself,
Hmm.
which puts you on a whole different spectacle or a whole different aim in your life. And again, that journey also starts with mindset,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know and so now when we're talking about mindset, I know you were mentioning about your program, so just how important is mindset, and then what would be one of like the first steps into changing your mindset from who you are here to where you're trying to go to, because I think a lot of times we don't know where to start. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And mindset is just having a mental attitude, a thought process of that you value yourself. Like you have values. Like my thoughts are valuable. The way that I treat myself mentally is valuable. what I feed myself and absorb is valuable. So you have to start there, and it's very important. I talk about I just created a power of mindset course, and it goes into all of that in more detail, and it talks about the three key mindsets that I tap into within the program, and that'll be available for anybody that's interested in getting it within the next couple of weeks. And I'll make sure that you get that information, and if they want to tap in, they can. But I talk about the power of 7, and it's 7 tips to help you change your mindset. And the first one is start with gratitude for where you are. You have to have a attitude of gratitude, because otherwise, how you going to expect God to keep blessing you when you're not thankful or gracious for the stuff that you have?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many people don't have running water, or can eat whenever they want to go to the refrigerator and open it up and it's food in there? You have to be grateful. And then number 2 is make a decision to change. In order to want change, in order to have change, you have to want change. Number 3 is be intentional. Like, live each day with intention. Set goals and work toward achieving those goals daily. But you also have the number 4, give yourself compassion to
Mm-hmm.
know that if I can't get this list complete, it's okay. I can start it again. You know,
Right.
number 5 is know that it won't happen overnight. And I'm guilty of that, because I want it right now, right now, right now. Not realizing that when you rush stuff, you miss steps. You have to go
Right.
back, relearn lessons that you could have just slowed down, paid more attention, and got it right the first time. So just number 5, just know that it won't happen overnight. And then number 6 is set healthy boundaries. People that's supposed to be in your life will respect those boundaries. You just have to make sure that there's something that's not putting any bad stuff on you, like, because boundaries can be good and bad. They can be healthy
Mm-hmm.
and unhealthy. So you want to set those healthy boundaries. And number 7, prepare to let go of what's holding you back. Everything has a reason, a season, in our life. If it's not serving you in a positive way, or pouring back into you, or refilling your cup when you're pouring back in, reciprocity is important. You have to know that it's not worth holding on to. It's
Yeah.
hard because we lose certain relationships. We may let go of a career that we loved at one point, but it's no longer serving us. So you know that that is not supposed to be your purpose. But you have to realize that it's okay to let it go. Stop holding on to it. Just like those negative thoughts and that perception that people have of you, let that go. It's not serving you at all. Now, if you want to take what you want from it, and just discard the rest, you know? So those are like the power of 7 that I go in more detail with the course. And it's just telling about having the attitude, the behavior, the actions, the performance, and all of that stuff to tap into the minds, a new mindset. And in my program, it talks about how you have to let go of that mental baggage first. And people ask all the time, what is mental baggage? It's anything that you holding on to mentally that's not serving your well-being mentally,
Mm-hmm.
like your mental well-being. If it's not serving you in a good head, to make sure you have a good headspace, it's time to change that. It's time to unpack it and let it go.
Right. Right.
And
Now,
that's not always easy.
no, it's not. And I love what you were saying, because I'm listening to the things that you're listing off, and I'm a lot of them I'm thinking, because I'm already, yeah, those are already a part of me.
Hmm.
I know last year, and even going into this year, I have my certain words that I like. Okay, this is one of my words for the year that I'm gonna
Me
focus
too. I
on.
do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And one of my words for last year and going into this year was be intentional.
Mm,
And so I focus and promise myself to be intentional with each thing that I do, with each decision that I make. Okay, why am I making this decision?
right.
And I'm making it for whatever purpose that is. Okay, that's where I'm going.
Hmm.
So that now we're not just doing stuff just to be doing it.
Hmm.
And so when you talked about being intentional, I was like, okay, I got that, because that's something that stuck out to me. And then another thing that you mentioned was boundaries, and,
Yep.
and I love having that discussion, because I would say boundary does three things. I think it's three things. It protects you from others, protects others from you, and it protects you from you,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because uh, oftentimes, we have to protect ourselves from other people, because if that person that's coming into contact with you doesn't have your best interest at heart, you have to
Hmm.
be able to put up those boundaries to say, okay, this is as far as you go, you
Right.
know. And but at the same time, when we haven't done the self care and the self love ourselves,
Hmm.
sometimes we have to protect other people from us,
Yep.
And even when we think about people who we love, when we may have come from, we talked about upbringing earlier, we may have came from a dysfunctional home,
Uh-huh.
and so now we're in this relationship with someone who we love, but our dysfunction from what we're used to is not viable to the relationship that we're in. So now we have to put our own boundaries up, like, okay, I'm not going to go past this because I
Hmm.
don't want, I want to set this boundary so I don't mess up,
Mess up something. Yes,
the situation
absolutely.
that I have. And then sometimes again we have to protect ourselves from
From
ourselves
ourselves. Hmm.
sometimes, because
Hmm.
again when we start talking about our own self-worth, and sometimes the words that we speak to ourselves or how we see ourselves because of
Yes.
some of the mistakes that we may have made in the past, or some of the decisions that we may have made. We may have been in jail a couple times, we may have had kids out of wedlock, we may have done a whole lot of things that we're not proud of,
Right.
and so we look in the mirror and we judge ourselves, so sometimes we have to put up those boundaries, like, what, I'm not
Yep.
going to do this to me, I'm not
Yeah.
going to continue to hurt me.
Hurt me.
you know?
Yep.
So boundaries, I love having that conversation because I think that's so important for all of us to remember that boundaries serve at least those three purposes.
Hmm.
Protect others from you, protect you from others, and then
And
protect you
protect you
from
from
you.
you. Yep.
Yeah,
I love that. Perfectly said. And then you
thank
threw a
you.
little bit of having that self compassion in there too, because you have to know, hey, I'm not gonna always get it right, and it's okay. But you cannot allow people to treat you like you don't matter. So
Right.
those boundaries come into play, especially like when you start to think differently and better yourself and want more for yourself. Those people that used to hang out don't want nothing. Y'all used to club and all that. And I'm not knocking anybody if that's your lifestyle, but at some point you need to grow up and realize that I need to do something different.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember listening to someone was having the conversation, and of course, that comes up as you start to do better, like, oh, you changed or whatever. They
Yes.
were saying, you know what, and in their life, and I definitely can attest to this. It was like I didn't push my friends away.
They push
They
themselves
kind of
away.
walked away
Mm-hmm.
because they couldn't go where I was going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, you going there? Well, I don't want to go there. You
Yeah.
going, you going to the
Yep.
mountaintop. Well, I don't want to go to the top. I like it here at the bottom.
Right.
And so it's like I didn't push them away or whatever. I just was on my journey, and as I
Mm-hmm.
began to ascend, they didn't want to ascend with me. And just
Absolutely. And
kind of
once you have to understand that elevation requires some separation
mm-hmm,
at some point. Not
yep,
saying that you don't want the best for your friends, but if they don't want it for themselves, you still have to go. And
yep,
eventually, either they're gonna come with you, or you just gonna they just not gonna see you anymore. And when you do run into them, hey, how you doing? No animosity or anything like that. You just we're not in the same place anymore.
yep,
And be okay with that. When you tap into that mindset and you experience a mindset shift, it don't even matter.
yeah. And it's like the verse in the one Jay-Z song. He said, how can I help the poor if I'm one of them? So I got rich and came back. So that's the
Yeah,
win.
right.
So sometimes, like you said, that separation is necessary. I got to separate to go get what we need. You know
Yeah,
what
it's
I
like
mean? Not
Harriet
just for
Tubman.
me, but
Just
it's what
she
we
kept
need.
she kept coming back for her family. She still had some didn't want to come.
Right,
Okay, I'm gonna come back anyway. And then eventually she realized that I can't keep coming back if y'all not gonna come because y'all gonna get me caught.
right.
So
And
yeah,
then she had to leave to actually get to freedom, to achieve it herself,
self.
to
Yep,
be able to come back and show you how to do it.
absolutely.
And that's kind of the things that we are, and especially myself, the journey that I'm on. I love helping people, and that's one of the things that I love about this podcast. Since I started it,
Mm-hmm.
is I am able to have
Mm-hmm.
so many different people on, and then some of the conversations that we have when the mic is off. And it's
Yeah.
like, hey, what do you need? How can I help you? How can I,
Right.
and the sharing of information and things like that. I just love it. I think it's amazing. And so
Same
that's
here.
sort of the path that I'm on,
Mm-hmm.
is helping people,
Mm-hmm.
and but it took some separation.
Yep.
A lot of times I'm alone. You know
Yep.
what I mean? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
the things that you do, you're going to these conferences, you're taking these courses, you're doing all these, you're reading these books, and you
Yep.
try to share it, like, hey, look at I'm reading. They're like, what you
And
reading?
they
You know what I
and
mean?
they looking at you like, oh, here we go again. Like,
Right.
uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, but sometimes that's the price we play
Play. Mm-hmm.
pay for greatness, right? In order
Yep.
for us to be great, and not only for us to be great, but then to be able to uplift those that are around us. So, Ms. KeKe, I definitely thank you for being on. Also, I wanted to talk a little more about some of your books, because you are an author. How many books
Mm-hmm.
do you have now?
I have 14.
Ooh, 14. Good Lord.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take your book course, because I
Yeah,
always tell
I'm a
everybody
writing
I
coach as
started.
well. I help other people get their books from paper to publication. So I just had a young lady to publish her first journal. She celebrated this past week. I have another lady. We just took her stuff to publication today. So
All
she will be
right.
celebrating next week. Hopefully everything goes well. It's just I love seeing the vision and then watching it manifest, and then the smile on their face when they do get their product in their hand. It's heartfelt for me. I love it.
Yeah, I think that's great, because in my family, we definitely have a family full of writers and authors. My
Mhm.
grandmother, my mother, even myself. Like I mentioned earlier, I've written
Yeah,
some
the ebook.
ebooks.
Hmm.
I started. And I'm gonna have to stop saying this, because everybody gonna keep listening to the podcast. Like, when you gonna finish? Yeah, every podcast you keep on tomorrow. You started this book, but you ain't finished it yet.
That's all right
So
though. At
I
least you
did
started
started.
though. At least you started right.
So I did start it, and I got the outline and everything. I just haven't sat down and finished it, writing it out.
Hmm.
So hopefully, I ain't gonna say hopefully. I'm aiming for the end of this year, before the end of this year, for it
I'm
to
gonna
be
check in
complete.
with you too. I'm gonna stay on you.
Okay, okay, good, good. Accountability. I love it.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying?
yes.
It helps us to get to where we're going. So, oh, I know where I was going with that. I wanted to talk about briefly. You had mentioned one of the other books that you have when we were off, which was What the L,
Hmm.
and you were telling me a little bit about that, and it intrigued me, because I think I have, just by our conversation, I know it's going to be powerful. So share with me a little bit about that, the What the L, and the concept of that book.
I'll read the synopsis if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's called What the L, and it's finding balance, creating and maintaining a new mindset. And I talk about 6 L words that we all know and probably say every day, but just changing the perspective of them, just giving a little bit more insight of it to tap into a new mindset. And the synopsis says, living a more impactful and enriched life is what most people hope to achieve through higher education, successful careers, and financial security. It requires much more than these elements. Developing a new mindset is the main principle for manifestation. Changing our mental equilibrium is the catalyst for creating and maintaining the life we were meant to live. It takes discipline, dedication, and doing the work to fulfill this act. What the L is a helpful guide to anyone seeking a new way of thinking to find balance and create the life they desire. What the L gives a detailed blueprint to incorporate and cultivate conscious practices of selective word inclusion. So that is the premises behind What the L. And it's just like, you know, once you see something from a different perspective, you start to see life in a different way. And so the L words that I speak about, and I'm not telling y'all the 6 L words, you got to buy the book to get them.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that. I love that book. And I also have one called GPS. It's goals, plans, and solutions. And we
Mm.
just talk about different ways to navigate to your next level.
Okay.
You were talking about your words, and I do words every year. And this year's word was adjusting. Like I adjust in every sense of the word.
Mhm.
And when I tell you it has been making me adjust, like that has come to fruition. Oh my goodness. Last year's word was elevation. The year before that was manifestation. Before that was transformation. The year before that was change. And every time I said a word with intention, it happens full circle throughout that year. So
Yeah.
I encourage you, if you haven't set words for the year instead of resolutions, because resolutions change and you stop them after the first couple of weeks. Let's just be
Mhm.
honest. And I'm a New Year's Day baby. So I was born on New Year's Day. So, I always have to have a word that I focus on throughout that year.
Yeah, yeah, and like I heard you mention manifestation, and I'm just now kind of getting into manifestation and learning about it. But one of the things I just realized not too long, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I shared this with my family. Um, I had a vision board party
Mm,
this year, right?
okay.
Never done a vision board before, and
That's
I
awesome. I
started
did
this
one
little
last year.
I started this small business group, with a couple family members and friends, and we was going over some things. And I said, okay, let's do vision board. So we had a vision board party. That was in like the beginning of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and I just went back and was looking at my vision board because it's on the wall, so I look at it
Mm-hmm.
every day. But I actually stopped and looked at it, and I just kind of was going across the things that was on it, and there's maybe a good 10, 12 things on there. And out of those 10 or 12, I've accomplished like 7, and I just had to stop and look
Absolutely
at them like,
awesome.
oh snap, and it was just one
Yes.
of those things. I was surprising to me because and I think it just goes back to that the power of writing that vision. Writing a
Yep.
vision, making pain to be able to
Making it
look
plain.
at it
Mm-hmm.
every day,
Mm-hmm.
and even though like I say, it's on my wall, so I see it every day. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not consciously, staring at it like, what am I going to do
Mm-hmm.
today? But in your subconscious, it's still running, it's still working. And so
Yes.
without even realizing it, I'm accomplishing things, and I'll go back and look at it and I'm like, oh, I'm like,
And
I
that's
gotta
a beautiful thing to see, right? That's so awarding. Like it's
yes,
like, yes, like a little mental hug. Yeah, I got it. I could do it.
right.
Okay, I have 12 on here. I've accomplished 7. Let's get the other ones done.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I'm so pumped up, should I say, for the rest of the year. Cause I'm like, hey, we halfway. We got
Yeah.
we got a couple more months to go. We got to get this thing done. So on New Year's Day, I'll be starting with a new vision board and a new vision. And I can't wait. So oh
Yes.
man, I'm excited about it. So but I'm definitely interested even in your work and your books, and I'm listening to them. Like I'm gonna have to put that on, get a couple of your books and put it in my book group, so we can start getting some of that mindset change,
Yeah. And I would love to come and
in there.
talk. I would love to come talk with them. I do that as well. So let me know.
No problem, no problem. Miss KeKe, I thank you so very much for being on. Thank you for your wealth of knowledge that you have
Thank you.
shared with us, even upon today. I want you to get a word of wisdom, word of inspiration, whatever that you want to leave us with, because I'm gonna let you have the last word. And so definitely give us your social media handles and information where we can definitely find your books
Yep.
and find your upcoming course.
Yep.
Definitely want to make sure we have that information. And so I'll give you a couple minutes to, kind of think about that. Guys, for my listeners, again, thank you guys for tuning in. I know that I told you guys that I was going to let you know how you can win $100 from the podcast, and that is by being a super subscriber. What does that mean? That means you must subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our Spotify podcast. You must subscribe to those 3 things to be entered into the super subscriber contest. After you've done those 3, then you must text the word win to 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to qualify to win $100 in our super subscriber contest. The contest is ongoing and it's random. So any day, anytime, I could just reach out and say, Miss Chanel, Miss KeKe, or
Mhm.
Miss whoever,
Whoever.
that'll just be the winner of the $100. I could do it one day. I could do it multiple days. It's just up to me because it's random and it's my decision because I'm the boss.
Hey, there you go. There
So
you go.
yeah, you guys. So in order to do that again, to win $100 from the podcast, it don't cost you anything. You're already listening. You already finding value. You already following us. Might as well subscribe and take a chance to win $100. And that's it for that. Miss KeKe, again, thank you so very much for being here. Thanks for being on. You could have been anywhere, but you spent your time with us and definitely have shared some wisdom with us, especially on mindset. And I'm definitely looking forward to getting some of your books, and also looking forward to your course myself. So I'm sure that my listeners are also. So again, thank you for being here. I'll let you have the last word, and so the floor is yours.
All right. And two things about the course. The course is where it would be available on Amazon. You can actually buy it and go through it yourself, or I'm doing a live webinar where I'll be going, teaching it to you, myself and another life coach. And so you'll get both of us. You'll get the course, you'll get the journals that we have. And it's a price, but once we figure out the logistics behind it, I'll make sure that you get that information. But I would love for you guys to be a part of that. We are only taking 25 people. So make sure that when the information come out, and I'm gonna give y'all my handle so y'all can follow and stay in the know when it comes to that. So I am on all of social media except for Snapchat. You can find me at KeKe Chanel. The KeKe Chanel on Instagram. I just joined TikTok and I am loving it. And it's KeKe Chanel 19 because 19 is my favorite number. So I post a lot. So you will get a lot of content on mindset, personal growth, my podcast, book information, just everyday life so that we can be our best self. And the one thing that I want to tell you guys is if you don't like the way something is going in your life and you have the ability to change that, don't just sit there and accept it. Do the work, give yourself grace, and know that you will get through it. Life happens. It's better than the alternative because you're still here, which means that you have time to change what you don't like. And know that everything that you need to change is already within you. Your gifts will make room for you. You are relevant. You are important. And you are here. So do the work and get it done. No excuses. No excuses. And with that being said, Ernest, thank you so much for having me here. It has been a wonderful discussion. I appreciate it. I don't take it lightly. I love when people open up their platform so that I can talk to their listeners. I know I covet my listeners. I don't just give them anything to absorb. So I do everything with intention on my podcast, and I'm sure you do the same. So thank you again for having me on your platform.
No problem. And we can't end the no better than that. So you guys, thank you guys for tuning in, all my listeners. Again, I am Ernest James, and this is the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. And our mission is to help people to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problems, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. So until next time, we will see you guys next week. Be blessed. Hey guys, I know you're enjoying the podcast. However, don't forget to join our text line at 866-326-0730. That's 866-326-0730 in order to receive text messages with new events and things that is going on and new episodes as they release. All right, see you in a minute. Thanks for listening to the Deal to Heal with E. James podcast. Remember to listen, like, subscribe, and share. This episode has been brought to you by Deal to Heal Teas. Put some inspiration in your situation. Wear an inspirational tea and be inspired all day. Let's go to dealtohealteas.myshopify.com. Remember, our mission is to help you to deal, heal, and fulfill. Deal with your problem, heal from the pain, and fulfill your purpose. Thanks for listening.